NationIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than no, fake not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of drippos. Show you where the Brits at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am here. I got a pot of tea brewing that I want to make sure I get with me. But yeah, I want to give you the heads up. You know, our brother Glenn, a.k.a. the Mason Mauler, a.k.a. Flo Debo. I got the news over the weekend. Somebody hit me up on Facebook like, is this true? And I was in my own Mother's Day bubble with the family and dealing with some other shit already. And I'm like, nah, I didn't hear this. But Glenn and I used to communicate away from the microphone. So I immediately sent the brother a couple text messages, didn't get a response. Then I called him several times, didn't get a response. I'm like, shit. Then I started to see different things on Facebook that kind of confirmed it to me. And then I got a chance to speak with somebody very close to Glenn. Perhaps one of the last people outside of his son to talk with Glenn. And this person gave me the details, which are not good, but it looks like it is true that Glenn, he made that transition. And you know, I get repetitive sometimes. You know, sometimes I say the same things over and over again, but I do it with intentionality because I know how the human brain works. And many of you know that the universe, God, however you want to call it, spared me. And I genuinely believe that part of the reason why I was spared, because I nearly died 2 years ago, is for my testimony to tell people, you know, my own journey. I want people to live their best lives. We were just talking about this on Friday about how life can change just like that. The tomorrow is not promised to you. And I mean that. I mean it with every fiber of my being. I don't just share this with you. I share with anybody I come in contact with, literally, because I feel like that's one of the reasons why God spared me, because I could have been dead. 100% blockage in your heart. I should have been dead. But I share that with the people I care about because I want you to live your best lives. So I spent purposely a lot of time, making that point on Friday. I remember on Friday, we actually got a call from Glenn, and he was doing what Glenn does. And so he'll definitely be missed. Most definitely a huge impact here on the show. Like his voice, his opinion. I thought the brother was super sharp. I didn't always agree. I'll tell you, and I'll put the Kim up in a second, but I've been tearing up. I ain't afraid to tell you that. It's very emotional. I think about his son Miles. It's very emotional. But on some levels, Glenn just made the transition that we all gonna make. I keep saying that. I mean this shit. Listen to me when I tell you this. Tomorrow is not promised. Don't put shit off to tomorrow. Handle it today. Tell the people around you how you feel about them today. Settle your affairs today. There is no tomorrow. It's today. It's today. It's minute by minute, hour by hour. You know what I'm saying? Day by day. Because tomorrow is not promised. So what I was told is that, Glenn was found by a family member unresponsive, slumped over. And, after they felt his body, they felt him cold, and they figured he was gone at that point. That's all I really know. I do know that he has some health issues. I don't know if he was the kind of person that went to the doctor on a regular basis. But what I will tell you is that, especially as you get older in life, and by older, I mean you hit the mid 30s, really 30, you should have if you can afford it, if you've got it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But if you can afford it and you got it like that, then you should be getting that regular checkup, pains and shit like that, because that's what I did. I had pains in my chest, I must admit, probably about a year or two before that. I'm like, that's nothing. I'm an athlete. No, I used to be an athlete. But you see yourself as your best self, as your younger self, and that shit will take you out the game. It'll take you out the game. Not going to the doctor will take you out the game quicker than anything else, especially if you haven't already trained yourself, to have, you know, um, healthy habits. It'll take you out the game. The human body was not meant to be 40, 50, 60 years old and you ain't doing shit but eating crap. And I'm not saying that's what happened with Glenn because I don't know. I'm just using it as yet another example to make a point that I feel like, I was spared uh, to share with you because somebody out there needs to hear it. Somebody's out there needs to hear it. This shit is real. Like we really are alive and we are really going to die. Every last one of us, all of us. So what you do between that birth date and that end date is everything. It's everything. Right. So I'm trying to remember back to when I first met Glenn. And I think as I was probably introduced to most people in this audience, it was on the radio. I just remember Glenn. I remember hearing Glenn call into other shows. And I used to say this all the time, and I'll say it again. Like Glenn was prolific. He was prolific in terms of him enjoying talk radio in the Cincinnati area across the dial. Black talk radio, sports talk radio, if you want to call it white male talk radio. That's essentially what it ends up being in this market, unfortunately. And he was well known because I always thought that, and again, I didn't agree with Glenn all the time, but I thought number one, he has chutzpah. He has enough chutzpah to call into a show. That takes a certain amount of courage, quite honestly, because nobody wants to be made to feel like they look dumb. And nobody wants to get out in front of everybody and then you say something wrong and everybody's like, oh, this person's not too bright or whatever. But Glenn let his opinion be known, for years and years and years and years and years. So inside of Cincinnati circles, not just with this show, but this show especially because we was created something new, and he was definitely a part of it, as are all of you. And he will definitely be missed. Flo Debo, oh man, his flows, the back and forth, the interaction between him and Drop, just his viewpoint, his opinion. I ain't saying he was right or wrong, his opinion. But so I listen to him calling into different shows. here in Cincinnati. That's when I first got familiar with him. He just had a combination of wit, uh, insight, and it was something about his voice I thought was very, very listenable to. And I know he dibbled and dabbled with doing radio on his own, but and then started his own podcast and stuff like that. So, he'll definitely be missed, man. I mean, this shit is real. This is no joke. Life is real. It's very, very real. So that's as much as I know. I don't know anything else. I just know that he was found unresponsive. Something happened in between, let's say, 2 a.m. Sunday morning and when he was found later Sunday morning. I spoke with someone who said she was on the phone with him about 2 a.m. So, when your time comes for you, ain't no hold up and wait. I was just making this point, and I'm making this point because I've been living it. I'm like, I see it. This shit is real. You don't always get a chance to say goodbye. You don't get a chance to say no goodbye. That's not guaranteed. When death comes, when it's your time, it's that. It's just like that. And it's not like no gosh darn movie where you can rush to the hospital. Like sometimes you trying to rush to the hospital, and you don't get there in time. Sometimes people pass away and you had a bone to pick with them. Y'all last conversation was not good. Watch how you talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you understand what you're communicating and be comfortable with what you're saying to people. You know what I'm saying? For me, if I say something to somebody, I'm comfortable with whatever happens because I meant it. I'm either saying it because I care about you and therefore I'm going to spend the time to spend my voice to speak to you, or I'm saying it because I just ain't got no time for it. Either way, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Big Brother Glenn. He'll definitely be missed, not just on this show. On this show, primarily, especially. But you'll hear people talking about him all day long. I'm sure Lincoln will talk about him. The guys on Sports Talk Radio talk about him. He let his voice be known. I thought he was a very intelligent brother, very smart brother, and it's sad. I feel for his son. We heard all about Miles. His son lost his father and his mother. When I get the details on the funeral arrangements, because I plan on being there, to show my respects to our brother, I'll let you know. And if you're interested in being there as well, I'll let you know. Some people have already said, hey, let me know. So I definitely will. In terms of anything for his son, as any information that comes to me, I'll pass it along to you ASAP so you can do what you need to do. I know many of you felt the same way. When I saw it posted, I know a lot of people were like, what? I can't believe this. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been dealing with so much death lately, including my own mortality, that I'm just with a different dimension on that shit. Like, I know that's coming. I know it 100%. I know that these little moments we have are so precious, so special. And you got to savor it. You got to know what you have. I know I'm the kind of person, I know I don't need to lose something to know what I have. Some people do. I don't need that. I know what I have. You know what I'm saying? I know what's important. And I know who support me. And Glenn has always been a big supporter. That's a very special relationship when you, as a creative, when you create something and somebody says, I like it, right? That's a very, very special relationship. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take it for granted at all. So I know I'm not alone in this. Tiff Tiff writes, "Good day, everyone. I don't really want to do no whole show today. I'm not in the mood for it, to be honest with you. I'm in my feelings about Glenn, so I'm gonna be here maybe until about 9, and then I'm out. And I'm gonna share some tears from my brother, and then do what I got to do for the rest of the day. But I don't really feel like talking about anything else. There's a bunch of stuff going on here in the city. I don't want to talk about none of it. I just want to talk about Glenn for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be out. That's okay." Daryl writes, good morning, Ain't the Choppers on a sad Monday. Jerica writes, geez, hola, beautiful black people, and the others too. Hashtag long live Patty P. Who's Patty P? I'm not sure who that is. Cass writes, hey Choppers, RIP Glenn Williams. Ernest writes, damn. Tabitha writes, RIP. Greg writes, good morning, may Glenn rest in heavenly peace. I extend my condolences to Glenn's friends and family. New Image writes RIH to Glenn. Winona, good morning. She writes no sound. Oh, I hope not. OMG from Facebook user. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Eloise is in the house. She writes, "Good morning, happy Monday." Lisa writes, "My sincerest condolences to everyone that loved him." Mika writes, "Good morning. We'll get through this one day at a time." Absolutely. Andrea writes, "R.I.P. my friend." Deborah writes, "Good morning, Nate, and to everyone. R.I.P. to Glenn." Absolutely. Jasmine writes, "Wow, wow, wow. What happened? So sorry to hear this." Well, again, I don't know the details. I just know that he spoke with somebody on Sunday morning at about 2 a.m. approximately. And then I don't know when his body was found, but his body was found by a family member. And he was slumped over. That's what they said, slumped over in his chair. And then a family member called someone else. And then, what happens after that? Let me go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate. This is Brent from Dallas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Brent. What's up, brother?
Oh, man, just, so much going through my mind and everything about Glenn. Um, he got the Mr. Giggles title taken from him from Kev on his cell, but, I rocked with about, 90% of what he said. But, when you think about, leaving a son and a daughter behind, it's supposed to be the children burying the parents and not the other way, but he loved his children, loved his mother and everything. And how he constantly, took up for his pops, especially when folks were trying to say that, his father's limousine business, breaking the boycott, just talking foolishness. And, he always just let that stuff run off his back like a water down a duck's back. So, but, he loved his friends. I was, we were friends, but we weren't friends. I, never met him. We've had conversations on the phone, video chats, always had jokes back and forth. I would always get on him about, one of his other loves, which is cooking, where he always was talking about using what I called his bougie truffle oil on everything. So, he would joke and laugh about that. And he would hit me with my love of professional wrestling. So, not only could he give a joke, but he could take a joke. And, when you're able to take a joke, and, you don't take yourself so seriously to where you get all in your feelings and when jokes come flying your way, it just makes for, better friendship, better conversation back and forth. But, also, he was big in politics. He always used to post about, the meet the press. And I'm cool with politics, but I'm not watching them morning shows like that. But I could count on Glenn to watch it and give a synopsis, of those shows and everything. And with this political petty podcast and everything, he was just, all around good dude. And then, most importantly to me, he was real. Who Glenn was on your show is who he was on Lincoln's show, is who he was on Emmanuel's show, is who he was when I talked to him. So, there's a lot of fake folks out there. Fake profile names, fake personas, depending on what show they call in, they switch it up. And that's just, to me, that's just foolishness. Most of us, that call into your show are over 45, pushing 50 and up. That's just, to me, that's just sad that you have to go by a fake moniker or fake name or fake Facebook profiles. Man up, woman up, be who you are. Or unless you're just doing it just to be a grifter, which I'm sure that's the case with a few of the folks that call in. But I just wanted to, just reach out, appreciate this, essentially, ad hoc tribute show to Glenn. He will definitely be missed. And like I said, I'm still processing everything, wish I knew him a little bit better, but, being down this way, but, definitely if I was in the Cincinnati area, he's definitely somebody, we could have went out and, had some wings, talk some trash, play some spades, a bid with, and, just keep each other laughing all night long. But that's all I had, Nate. Just wanted to reach out and, man, yeah, once you know the details, just let me know. I'm going to post in the Friends page his last epic rant that he had on your show on Thursday, along with a quick picture collage I put together based off his Facebook. pictures. But yeah, man, this is a different feeling because it wasn't family and wasn't really a friend. So it's, man, just processing everything, just still processing. But appreciate your time. The time is, I got to get ready to fire up the laptop and get logged in. But thank you very much, Nate. Much love to all the choppers out there, with heavy hearts. Hey, tomorrow's not promised, so live each life and live each day to the fullest, and let those people that you love know that you love them. Don't assume that they know. Let them know that you love them. But appreciate you, Nate. Appreciate your platform. Hey, keep up the great work. And, man, I will talk to you later.
All right, Brent. Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah. Good morning. If you want to share your thoughts about Glenn, go right ahead. The door is open. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he was like, I think the way he put it is great. It's just like when you do this for years and years and years and you're doing a daily show, at least the kind of show that I do, where you're talking about your family and you're talking about a whole lot of different issues that it ain't just about politics and people are listening and chiming in. Like after a while, you sort of build a familiarity and it's a relationship on some levels. It may not be the same as like a friend you grew up with and y'all went to elementary school together and y'all go to the movies and all that kind of stuff, but it's a relationship that can be important to you nonetheless. And like I said, with the way he just described Glenn, this is my experience with him. Yeah, I would talk to Glenn. He would call me. I would call him from time to time, not every week, not every month, but it was still there. But that death thing is so final. You know what I'm saying? It's so final. Let me see. Deborah writes, good morning, Nate, and to everyone. RIP Glenn. I mean, I'm gonna miss his voice on the show, and I've got all of these years worth of his calls calling in, and I'm wondering if I had to really figure out how I feel about that, like hearing his voice on a regular basis. How would that impact me? How would it impact you? But he had these little quips and little things that he would say that was just so uniquely him, and it just made it just added to the show, right? As anything can, as everybody's voice does. But then the Glenn in particular is one of those folks that would transcend just being a chatter and would call in and be a talker so we could connect and hear his voice as well on these issues. But let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection with a heavy heart this morning. How you doing, Nate?
I've been better.
Man, Nate, when you told me about this, at first I didn't believe it, Nate, because again, rest in peace, Glenn from Mason, Glenn WW, Glenn William Washington, Politically Petty, Flo Debo, all the names. I mean, Nate, when you told me, right, at first I didn't believe it because on Friday and Thursday, because you remember when Glenn made the call to the show and then I called back on Friday, me and him have been going back and forth on Twitter, right? So Friday, I was using some of his episodes from his own Politically podcast to get back at him on Twitter. We was going back and forth with memes and stuff. You know how it is. You follow both of us.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, I get up my early Saturday morning, driving to the casino like I always do. And sometimes I post when I'm in the car on Twitter. So when I opened up on Twitter, getting ready to drive to the casino, I noticed Glenn had blocked me. So I'm laughing, Nate. I'm like, oh, here we go. For the fourth time, when I get under his skin, he blocks me, right? So I go on to the casino. I come back a couple hours later. I go back on Twitter, and I'm thinking, should I block Glenn? Because usually when he blocks me, I don't block him because I want him to see my tweets because he's my arch enemy, my nemesis on Twitter, as well as the Nathan Ivy Show. So then a few hours later, I said, okay, I'm going to block Glenn. I'm going to show him this time. And then I got the notification from you, and I'm like, man, I can't believe it. But yeah, Nate, it's sad. I mean, when I first came on your show, Nate, a little over 4 years ago, when Glenn started coming at me, because I knew that you weren't that kind of host, and I wasn't going to come at you because I didn't want you to kick me off your show. So when Glenn started coming at me, Nate, it reminded me of my post office days in the break room when I used to go back and forth with Democrats. So over 4 years, Nate, me and Glenn developed this rivalry. You cultivated it. Fame cultivated it. Black Russia cultivated it. But it was always me and Glenn. Later on came the other people that I, gave the moniker, the junior overseers or overseers in training. But it was always Glenn. And I could always count on Glenn to call in or to send me a tweet so me and him can keep going back and forth. Because I loved it, Nate. Me and Glenn were so similar, Nate, as far as our political stuff. Me and him we were almost identical, except he was a Democrat and I was a Republican. So Nate, the relationship we had, because when I started my podcast, Glenn started his. I know I motivated him, Nate. I know I pushed him, just like he pushed me. And I love listening to his podcast, Nate, because like you said, the man had the voice for radio. He was smooth. He was sharp. He was witty. He was intelligent. I love going back and forth with Glenn. We had a few times on Spaces we went back and forth, but we never got a chance to do a podcast together because, again, he used to always say, I was clout chasing. But I get it because me and him kind of did the same thing. But I didn't really get into this stuff deeply until I retired. And it was the Nathan Ivey Show that helped me through those first few years of retirement. That's a whole nother conversation. But your show, Nate, and the rivalry that I had with Glenn was my purpose in my early years of retirement. It kept me going. It gave me something to do. I learned how to do videos and post memes. And Glenn from Mason, politically petty, he was the driving force. So I just wanted to call in, Nate, give my condolences to his family, especially his young son. But I think Glenn has influenced him enough, and Miles is at the right age to where he will always have his father's personality. He's going to take it now because, Glenn is going to live in his memory forever. So I'm pretty sure someday, God willing, we might hear Lil Miles picking up the phone and calling your show, Nate. So I just wanted to send my condolences to his family, to the Choppers who loved him, because I was never on Facebook. He's lucky I wasn't on Facebook, but I'm there, but I'm not Drop Squad 52. So he knows my name. And I just wanted to say again, Nate, condolences to the Glenn Washington family and everybody who loved him. So I'm out. Peace out, Choppers.
I appreciate the call, man. It's very emotional. Oh, this shit is so emotional. I'm in my feelings big time, but I appreciate what the brother had to say. Let me see. DD writes, what? Monday morning mood is right. You see, Nat writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. RIP to the good brother Glenn from Mason. Brandy writes, good morning. Oh no, RIP Glenn. Staban writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. It's a new work week. Glenn, aka Mason Mahler, aka Flo Debo, will be missed from Sharp. Yeah, the brother was sharp. He had a good voice, and he enjoyed talk radio. He in particular enjoyed Black Talk Radio. He liked to hear different opinions. He would support the shows, not just the shows that we do, which is so important when you're doing a show. You need people that support you and to give you some, to help with the content and even to give you some critiques. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, Nate?
How you doing, Daryl? Good morning.
I'm all right. Yeah, I got the message. I found out. I didn't even see it on Facebook, and then it was confirmed by several people we have in common. Man, I've been knowing Glenn. I knew Glenn for over 40 years. We went to Camus together. He was a year after me, and And then we were in the National Guard together much later, after that, those tuition benefits. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna miss his voice. I'm shook, bruh. I'm shook. Um, I don't know what to say. Thanks, Nate.
You're gonna catch me, bro. You get me caught up. I'm trying to keep my composure. I feel you, man. I hate to hear it, for his family and, for a lot of reasons. All right, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey Nathan, it's Tracy. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Tracy. How you doing?
Fine. I I always get fascinated when I meet people, and because I've only known Glenn for like 2 or 3 years. I always heard him on the radio like everybody else, but I got to know him better on your show. And when you meet people and finally meet in person, and you just hit it off that fast, um, I don't know. It was just something special about Glenn. And when I found out that he graduated in the same class and played football with my husband at Woodward, he was even more special to me. I thought he was talented, and I thought he was funny, definitely very smart. And I just loved how he was with his children. But what makes his death so profound for me is that it seems like when you turn 50, and if you haven't turned 50 yet, pay attention, because it seems like people just start falling off all around you once you hit 50. Your friends just start getting snatched up out of here. And it's nothing that you can explain, and it's hard to understand. So when I heard it yesterday, because I found out a couple of hours before he was actually posted by his sister, but I was just waiting for the family to say something. I did not want to believe it. I even called his phone, and it went straight to voicemail. But I'm really gonna miss Glenn. And like I said on my post, talk radio will never be the same. You'll never hear his voice again. So whether you love Glenn or you just disagree with his views or topics or whatever, it's all good. But we need to understand that we're all, this is going to be all of us, some sooner than others. But I'm just going to really miss Glenn. It's just horribly tragic that there's that. We're on God's clock, not our own. And I just really pray for his children, because they don't have parents now. And I'm really gonna miss Glenn. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, appreciate the call. Appreciate the call. Y'all getting me. I can't even put the can back up. I'm trying to keep it together, but I get it. I get it. Yeah, I mean, he just came across as a good guy, and you get to hear people's voices on a regular basis, and sometimes you can take it for granted. Like, yeah, I wonder what Glenn think about this. I wonder what such and such think about this. And I'll say it again. If you're close to me, you know exactly how I feel about you. You know exactly how I feel about you at all times, because I'm gonna tell you. Because life is too short. I'm not gonna play the substance. I'm extremely transparent, with the people close to me. Extremely transparent. I don't hold nothing back. Because what we holding back for? You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow ain't blessed. You're not blessed with the promise of tomorrow. You ain't blessed with that at all. See, I'm all in my feelings. Look at me. saying, for my brother. You know, flower for our brother. And a moment of silence for our brother. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nathan. How you doing?
I'm trying to hold together. Good morning, TNT.
So am I. After Tracy Bell's call, it just makes it even harder. But I just want to give my condolences. Just really, really respect the brother. He was profound, intelligent. You know, he controlled the narrative, and that was one of the things that I really respect about him, because, you know, people come in with just false information or bad information, spreading it out to our community, which does a lot of harm. But he will always come back with that perspective, that reason, that rationale, and help give the narrative that people needed to, you know and understand on certain things. Just a deeper understanding. He's a deep thinker. I loved his theme song to his podcast. He always, you know, pretty much everything I would say, he would always like and love it. I mean, it was incredible to have his support. You know, he even, of course, about, you know, the space mask that I was doing. I remember just driving way out to Mason to deliver something to him. And, you know, he's just an overall good brother. I know he meant a lot to my cousin, SBK. But it's just something, you know, I can't say I was like a close friend, you know, like talk to him every day or saw him every day or anything. But, you know, I feel like, you know, a closeness is still a bond that we have as a callers, you know, and even beyond this show. Like you said, we know Glenn from many shows, you know, Lincoln Ware and everywhere. You know, he was a talk show person. So you just, when he got on the line, like if you was about to do something, you would just wait because you wanted to hear what he had to say. So, you know, it's going to just greatly miss his voice. It's going to really, you know, put a gap in what talk radio has been for us for so many years, you know, because just perspective, he had it. And I think about some of the other, you know, callers that we have grown to love and appreciate and you know, just rely on hearing their voice, just thinking that we always got tomorrow. And you know, Sister Francis, I even remember, you know, when December passed and the way he passed was like tragic, and I didn't always agree with him, but it was still like, wow, you know, it's just somebody you used to hearing. They made you laugh, you know, they made you think, and you just grow to appreciate that. And whether you agree with them or not, it's just like you don't expect to not hear their voice. And so it's when I found out yesterday, and of course it was Mother's Day, so, you know, we're all consumed in our events, and I hadn't even touched social media. If anybody texted me, called me, I was nowhere near my phone. So when I finally got a chance to sit down and relax or whatever, and I saw that, it was just like, no. I don't want to believe that. Something wrong. That's not right. And the more, you know, people kept talking about it and it just kept going, it was just like, wow. And it really just affected my mood throughout the night. And then just waking up this morning and just realizing that it is that is true. And I just hate to hear that. So my condolences to his family, and Tracy just reminded the fact that you know, his kids don't have their parents and stuff. So I hope there's any way, you know, the community to come together, support if they need that or any information. Like I'm here for it. I'm there for it. I know in the last couple of days, couple of weeks or whatever, he was happy. He just bought a car, and you know, seemed to be like living his best life. So it does matter the dash between. This is what my cousins say all the time: the dash between the year we was born and the year that we die should mean something. That we should live our life with purpose. That brother definitely lived his life with purpose. You know, he definitely impacted a lot of lives, more than he probably ever would know. And just love and respect and appreciate him. And something else I want to say is that you know, something our good friend Derek Bozeman has said, sometimes when we lose people, we get consumed in the loss, but sometimes we have to remember what we still have right here. You know, don't forget the people that you still have here to love and to, you know, have, you know, and not to get so consumed on the lost. And so just, you know, we got each other now, you know, just to love and respect each one in this community that Nathan's created, you know what I'm saying? Love and respect all of y'all, even if I don't always agree with you, even if you say some cutthroat things to me. It's just like, I don't want anything bad to happen to none of y'all, nobody, you know what I mean? But I know these things happen, and it just hurts sometimes. It just hurts certain people, and that's all I got. Talk to you.
Oh, thanks for the call, TNT. I appreciate it. Yeah, rough. But you know, generally speaking, you know, you miss people. That's just my attitude toward it. Like, you miss people, but they made that Glenn just made the transition that each and every one of us is gonna make. He just went a little before us. That's it. That's it. If you're tuning in for more information, the only thing I know is that someone spoke with Glenn. Somebody spoke with Glenn Sunday morning, approximately 2 a.m. ish. So that's early Sunday morning. And then he was found again later Sunday morning. I don't know exactly when. He was found by a family member, and I guess he was in his chair, slumped over. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's heart attack. I don't know if that's aneurysm. I don't know what that is. We'll find out. I don't have any arrangements. So as arrangements come to me, I'll send them to you if you want to know. I don't know what's happening with his son. He has a son and a daughter. I don't know what's going to happen to his son. His son was a minor. All that's up in the air. I don't know about any kind of GoFundMe or anything like that. As soon as I get the information, I'll put it out there, and you can, you know, do whatever you're going to do with it. So, you know, let me go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. It's Anthony, man.
Hey, what's up, Anthony? Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for having me, bro. Man, I still don't have the words for it, but I knew the brother for over 40 years, man. Went to school with him, and you know, I respect and love the man that he became. But I always have to go back to the years that we spent in school, man. You know, if you was a cat who came to the back of the bus, you better be ready to play the dozens. So, and Glenn was good with it, man. He had a wit that was he could rip one off of slicker than a dime on ice, man. And we had some great times as kids coming up, and you know, even as young teenagers, sipping a little bit, puffing a little bit. You know, just good times, man. The brother was real. I just still can't fathom it. You know, talk to the brother. You know, it's like, man, it can't be. You can't be here one day and then gone the next. You know, like I said, I don't have the words, man. Just, you know, prayers and love for the family and condolences. And I think we lost a good brother. Thanks for taking my call, Nate.
All right, Anthony. Thanks for making the call, brother. Take it easy. Appreciate you. You know, I didn't know that people knew Glenn like that. Said he known 40 years. I can see it. And unfortunately, it is like that. It literally is like that. Like, here today, gone tomorrow. Literally. You know, I remember when my grandfather passed away, and that man was even more instrumental to me as a father figure than my own biological father. That's why you hear me talk about him a lot. He dropped me off. I think I spent the night at my girlfriend's house. He dropped me off at my girlfriend's house. I'm awoken the next morning with my uncle beating on the window. As soon as he was beating on the window, I knew something bad had happened because he never done that. He said he was gone. I grabbed my stuff, ran out the house, never saw him alive again. But the last time I saw him alive, he was doing something that he loved. He was dropping his grandson off. We had a great conversation. I even think we stopped to get some wings or something like that. And he dropped me off. He was cool, helping me out like that. It was a great, great moment. But you don't get a chance to say goodbye. That ain't written. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. Good morning, Choppers. This is Donita.
Hey, Donita, how are you?
Man, this is a big one. I started listening to your show from my husband, and I can remember we were driving to Delaware, and he was listening to your show. And I was like, who are these people that you are listening to? And Glenn just stood out as a caller. And then when I started calling in, Glenn was my buddy. Like we would tag team all the time. And he just, one thing I will say is that Glenn stood for what he stood for, and you knew exactly where he was. The cool kids lunch table will never be the same again without Glenn. It'll never be the same. And so what I would say is we all know how Glenn felt about voting. So whatever your political views are, if you want to honor Glenn, get out and vote. That's all I got, Nate. Have a good one.
Take it easy. Yeah, absolutely. The brother had a unique voice, and then he had the will to share it. You know what I'm saying? So like in this media kind of platform, those kind of voices, those kind of people definitely gonna stand out. And somebody said he was the same. Yeah, he was the same. See, some people change, but Glenn was the same. He had the same flow. It didn't matter who he was talking to. If he agreed, he agreed. If he disagreed, he disagreed. Matter of fact, some of the early conversations I remember is we were disagreeing. We was clashing, but it was always on some just rhetorical type shit. It's just intellectual. It's a joust. It ain't nothing you take to the streets. It's just radio, right? And Glenn understood that. Like not all listeners understand how this works and what it's all about, but Glenn understood it. He understood what this was. He understood how to navigate these waters. He understood the impact you can have even as a listener. You know what I'm saying? As a caller, as a texter, as a chatter, as a member of the Chop Shop. He understood it. He got it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. It's Kev on the field.
What up, Kev?
Hey, man, just want to send out my condolences to Glenn's family for sure. So my early recollection of Glenn is from Down the Dial, and anybody in Cincinnati knows what Down the Dial is, so we don't have to expound on that. But he was given a nationwide talk show host of business. And when I say he was giving him the business, he called him out on everything that he said that he felt was out of place. And he was speaking on behalf of the common person. And a lot of people don't understand that when, it's great that people sit back and they vote and they do everything that they have to do. And all of those things are amazing and have to happen. But when you speak truth to power, man, and truly truth to power, where you're saying to people things that they don't want anybody really to hear, particularly when it comes to us and then it comes from us, it's really impactful. And then the very next day, on another station that is equally on another location down the dial, I called him again, talking to somebody else. I'm like, man, who is this dude? He just keeps giving him the business. But pretty much like you said, every talk show that I know of, national, local, whatever, you could hear Glenn's voice. And in most instances, what he was talking about was for us. It was for us. And we need those voices out there. We need people to speak for us and let folks know that, no, we are not one homogenous group. We do have distinct differences, but in the end, we are concerned with us and making sure that we as a community I think Glenn spoke well for that. So again, my condolences. Rest in peace. Rest in heaven. Rest in power to my brother. Be blessed. Nate. That's all I got.
All right, bro. That's all I need. Be blessed. Yeah, he said give him the business. I heard Glenn too. And he said Glenn would run down the line. That was his style. Like if it was 4 or 5 things, he'll run down all of that. And he had, see, that's a different type of intelligence. Being able to articulate how you feel, not everybody can do that. We take that to granted in this world because there's so many people that can, but a lot of folks cannot, they haven't developed how to fully articulate how they feel. And I think Glenn was able to do that in a way that was both entertaining and informative because I heard him giving people the blues, the business. But that wasn't every call, though. That wasn't every call. It depends on what was going on. So he was sort of like that balance. And like I said, from a talk radio standpoint, you need those kind of folks. You need those kind of people. That's why you hear me saying and giving many thanks to the people that keep this show going and popular because you don't have to do that. Glenn didn't have to be a part of Chop Shop. You could have did whatever you wanted to do. You don't have to be here. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't take that for granted at all. That's a very sacred thing. That means it's incumbent for me to do my part to make sure it's a space that you even want to fuck with. So yeah, I heard him giving the people the business down the dial representing. Like, hold on. What no, Jake? What you say, Jake? Well, A, B, C, D, and what about B again? I missed the point. He had a way of doing that. And it'll be interesting. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Talk show hosts all over the city will be in mourning today because the brother is never going to call in again. I guarantee it 100%. 100%. And then if you don't like Glenn, then you don't like yourself. I ain't never, he's one of those kind of people that you had to like him. You just had that kind of personality. You know what I'm saying? You just like the guy and you couldn't help yourself. So I get it. Most definitely. Kush writes, Glenn would even boldly check the folks down the dial. Yeah. See, a lot of people be afraid to call in, and I get it. That ain't no easy thing to do, to call into a show. You sitting there, you might be sitting for an hour. You get on the air, you feel like they're in control. Glenn would let them have it in a way in which wasn't like they couldn't hang up on him, right? He wasn't using certain language. He had a way of doing it in which they had to let it roll because to hang up on him would make them look even worse. They had to let it roll. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, this game ain't for everybody. You can't be thin-skinned. You can't wear your heart on your sleeves and want to get in this microphone, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Because people gonna check you. It's gonna happen. And you're gonna be wrong sometime. And how you act, how you interact with that gonna say a lot about you. Roy writes, my condolences to his family. Absolutely. Hey, Chastity, she writes, oh, so sad, condolences. Charles writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers, R.I.H. Glenn, a good dude gone too soon. Let me jump inside the chop shop. Ray writes, good risings all. I'm going to miss my back and forth banter with Glenn. Absolutely. Ashley writes, my condolences to his family. Ray writes, I dubbed him the civics teacher. CG Dubs in the house. She writes, flows ready E for everybody. Glenn will definitely be missed. I got to absorb that into my flow. Flows ready E for everybody. And maybe even his voice on some levels because we heard it so often. But I don't want to come across the wrong way with it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, absolutely. For sure, Ray. And thank you for supporting this platform. You know, this is just one of many God-given talents that I was blessed with. And I loves my people. And the two come together and create the show. And that's it. Petty P is, yes, right, Petty P. I forgot for a second. That's his podcast. And he came up with the name of it. He said it one day. And I called him, or maybe said on the show, I said, that's the name of your podcast, Politically Petty Podcast Show. He was delivering some flows, some Flow Debo type stuff. And he said, I'm just being politically petty. And the light bulb went off. I'm like, that's your podcast, the Politically Petty Podcast Show. Most Def. I've been shedding tears ever since I heard it. You know what I'm saying? As soon as somebody told me, I had this eerie feeling come over me like, is this shit true? And like I said, I texted the brother. I'll show you. I texted him immediately, like, let me confirm this. Joe writes, bro, tell me I didn't just see a RIP from Glenn. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it right here. You know, the brother and I used to text. Maybe you can see that. Yeah, it is Glenn. And I texted him as soon as I got it, 2 p.m. yesterday. Like, hey, checking in on you. I waited like 5 minutes. I called him. It went straight to voicemail. I waited like 5 minutes. I called him again. It went straight to voicemail. So, and then I started getting messages from other folks. And I'm like, shit, it's true. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nate. It's Regina.
Hey, how you doing, Regina?
I'm I'm trying to be okay. I'm gonna keep it short. I was driving back yesterday from my daughter's graduation, and I just happened to see it on the Nathan Ivy page, and I'm like, no, that's not true. And then I look, and I see the message from his sister, who is just a wonderful person and a member of my church, and just beautiful. And I'm just really messed up about it. And this is my first time calling in ever because I happen to be off work today. I'm usually on the chat, listening at work. But just condolences to his family, to all the choppers, and he will definitely be missed. And, I've never met him, but I just look forward to hearing his voice, or what he put in the chat when I was listening at work. And I appreciate everybody and prayers for his family and for all of us. And that's all I got, Nate.
All right, Regina, thank you. Take it easy.
All right, take care.
Yeah, most deaf. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I look forward to his opinion too. Like I wonder what Glenn gonna say. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward, or he'll call in. I'm like, oh boy. And that's why I always enjoyed the banter between him and Dry. I enjoyed all of it. If you notice, I never got too high, I never got too low. I just let those men do what they do because I understood, what they was doing. And, it's just conversation. It's just human interaction. You know what I'm saying? It was good for the show. They were adding to the show, but it was bigger than that. And so definitely, but the thing about it, if you live long enough, what you realize is that that's the only constant in life. Change. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Always the best reminder to turn on Meet the Press, right? And he had this thing for, what was the guy who used to do Hardball? Chris Matthews. I couldn't stand Chris Matthews. He was a big Chris Matthews guy. So I don't know. Moving forward, I'll find a way to incorporate him into the show. His flows rated E for everybody. Flo Debo. I'll find some way to incorporate into the show on a regular basis because I think it needs to happen. It needs to happen. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, GC. That's my little handle.
Hey, GC. Good morning.
Hey, and you looking really good. You
Thank
looking
you.
really good, by the way.
Thank you.
You informed me this morning. You were the first time I heard it this morning. And needless to say, I was overwhelmed. So I called Lincoln Ware, confirmed, and he said, yeah. And it's just unbelievable to me how, we say here today, gone tomorrow, but actually, for that person that spoke to him at 2:00 in the morning, it was here today, gone today for her with him. I just talked to him about 2 weeks ago on the phone. It was just something that it was over a post or something, and we were laughing about it. And I told him then, and I've always told him, and I've listened, met him, and only a couple of times I listened to him all the time over at the various talk show community. And we are a community. I'm in relationship with people just through their voice and through their conversations. And, this is a gaping hole in the talk show community. It's a huge loss for me because regardless of whether you believe in the things, agree with him, you had to respect his passion. And he was like a black Democrat, like a white Republican or something. That's how much he respected and honored his politics. And for that, I respected him. even though, like you said, a lot of times I necessarily agree with him because he was so passionate about being a Democrat. Just I'm thinking, wow, I never met nobody like this that's just so passionate about it. But he was knowledgeable too, and his voice made you respect him. I mean, you couldn't help it. And I just learned so much from him. And when you said he won't be calling in anymore, that just brings me to tears because we won't hear that voice anymore. And it's just sad. I think we all gonna go this way. We get it, but just to be found, unresponsive or found dead like that, it just seemed like, man, it's just, I don't know, it's just so sad. So I thank you for putting it out there like that. I thank you for this forum. I thank you for your heart and for your passion. I thank you for your respect. And may he rest in peace, and praying for his daughters and his son and his people that are missing. Praying for us, South Shore community. One love. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you, GC. Take it easy. I don't have anything to add to it. Well said. I appreciate it. Well said. Good morning to you. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Nate?
What up?
This is Clifford.
What up, Clifford?
Nothing much. It's sad to hear about Glenn. Like I said, that when we were together, we would cut up, and I enjoyed when he would talk about Marcus Jenkins, Too Sweet, Ken Anderson, and Dwight Patton, who I call Debo, ride the bicycle, and he tag team on all of them. And he's a good brother, and he's pretty passionate about things. And to hear, when I saw your post, I called 513 and told him, and he couldn't believe it either. But it's like, you here today, gone, could be gone the same day. And so you got to tell people how much you care about them every day, because when they're gone, they're gone. You can't get them back. But, I could see how you looking, that you it's kind of a downer, when you it's like losing family, even though you just being around, like at the Christmas party, seeing him and laughing and just talking. It was always a good times with him, and knowing his father and some of his family is, it's going to be hard. But that's all, man. And at work, I usually don't call in, but Glenn was a special person. And when I used to listen down the dial, I used to love when he called in, and like him and Sensible Don are gone, or Senseless Don. But those are two characters when it comes to talk radio.
All right, Clifford.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
I see you.
Yeah, I was on. Just showed another picture of Glenn. You can find him on Facebook. He's got pictures of him and his son. I think about my own boy. I mean, that's just, you think about what you leave behind. People saying, I will miss your intelligent comments. Yeah, very intelligent. He was one of those voices that when he called in, you knew he was going to get opinion, but it was going to be backed with some logic and some facts. And shit, he was probably more well-versed than I was in terms of keeping up with what was happening on like the national scene with like the mainstream shows and all that kind of information. And he would bring it back to the show. And, you sometimes you could take that for granted. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Brother Ivy, man? Good morning to you and all the choppers. What's going on?
Hey, good morning to you, Brother Powell. Trying to make the best out of things, brother.
I'm gonna say this first because some of the sisters were saying earlier. I when it come to leaving, we all gonna go home, Brother Ivy. You already said it, it. This brother said earlier, we all gonna go home. We gonna be here one day. We gonna go home. So I always looked at that different as far as mourning for a good brother, a good sister, especially when I knew they was a good people and had a good heart. Because I truly believe we're going to go up or down, but that's it, no there. Brother Ivy and radio listeners, GC said it best, we're a community. But every time I heard Brother Glenn, I got to say this, you kind of knew which way he was going because he was a Democratic mastermind and a factual mastermind at that. A lot of times when you listen to the radio and you hear people call, you be like, oh, whatever, here, no, there. But when he called, Lord have mercy, it was always factual. He had did his research to the T. And no matter what you were saying or thinking, as the one that said earlier, you know, you knew he was coming. I'm like, oh, here comes Glenn. It's over. When you, as a Republican, a charter right, Green Party, any party you name, he was coming. And I never forget when I seen it, it was at the holiday extravaganza. He was like, pal. I was like, you can't give me no credit. I'm like, that's Glenn. And so you know, when you own that, when you in this the way we are, and other people callers are too, you know, you put your 110% into what you do. And I cannot believe he wasn't a consultant. Glenn was not Glenn didn't even make no money off of it. He was just a diehard person for the Democratic Party. And I used to tell him, like, man, come on. I mean, you are a mastermind. You are really good at this. And he could convince people. I mean, he could talk about an issue, a policy, from guns to, I mean, everything. He was just a mastermind. And y'all talk about winning the campaign. I was like, Glenn, man, what do we got to do to win? If you notice, every time he talked, he was talking facts and he was talking numbers. I'm like, bro, you definitely should be a consultant. But he wasn't into it like that. I'm like, why do you do this? He's like, pal, I'm just compassionate. Like, why? We had just 10 more people like you in every city. It'd be different. And he always talked about voting. He always talked about the community. I'm like, man, Glenn, you got something. You a gem, man. You just don't know it. He knew it. He just wasn't into getting it on that level, but he definitely could. Glenn should have been in D.C. somewhere, in somebody's office. Trust me, y'all. And I am qualified definitely to say it about that brother. He was sharp. To be missed, y'all know how I am about going home. I'll say this. It's not what we do here, but it's how we create the atmosphere for the next generation. And he done that. Most definitely. He's one to look up to. And I definitely going to be sure to tell everybody, when you let us know when he leaves and when the funeral is and all the arrangements, be sure to put that up, everybody, because I'm going to tell every politician. You might not have known him, but all y'all Democrats, you go, oh, that brother. Trust me. Definitely, because he would fight for you. If you had to be next to your name, he would fight for you. On that note, have a blessed day.
Take it easy. Yeah. The brother was sharp. So it wasn't just me. Yeah, I could see it. You know, I could see it and hear it. When he called in, I'm like, every call, he was on point with his opinion, and he did have some facts behind it. I ain't gonna say nobody's right all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But most definitely. And what he said about the Democrats, for sure. They may not know him, but he definitely was riding for you because he felt strongly that was the right thing for the community. That was his opinion. And he's entitled to it, most definitely. Janice writes, Glenn became a friend on Facebook. I love this commentary and followed his cooking. I came to feel that I knew him personally. God be with his children and extended family. Let me see. Cam writes, I'm so sad. Same here. I'm just keeping myself together because I'm on camera. TNT writes, I'm going to miss how you all went back and forth. Yeah, absolutely. Most def. That's why I always used to say, this is great for the show. I always knew what I had and what we had with that special, group of people. I always knew it from day one. Dwayne writes, are you getting what I'm spitting? If I'm lying, I'm flying. RIP Glenn from Mason, a.k.a. Flo Debo. Absolutely. Bridget writes, my condolences. Trinice writes, Glenn Washington, RIP hater, hood dude, though. Is that right? Maybe Nate can create a compilation of stingers for his children. I could definitely do that. I'm thinking about doing it for the show as well, because I want to hear his voice some more, but I don't want to come across as exploitive. It's not that deep to me. Didi writes, I'm going to miss Glenn Washington calling right after someone he disagreed with. Sad times for long-time listeners. Absolutely. Drop was his nemesis, and I love their banter. I did too, because we were getting two sides of the opinion. That's all you can ever ask for. Kathy writes, sad morning. Charles writes, my condolences. Glenn will certainly be missed. Absolutely. Mary writes, oh no, Glenn Washington was my Facebook friend and listener of Lincoln Ware Show. I'm so sad he is gone. I just invited him to the Health Expo last week, and he said he was going golfing. Kush writes, I'm waiting for him to call right after this call. I'm shook, right? Because yeah, it's gonna take a long time. It's gonna take a long time. Marisha writes, good morning. Good morning to you. TC writes, what happened to Glenn? he was found dead, as I understand it, Sunday morning by a family member. He spoke with somebody at approximately 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, and then he was found later that day, as the story goes, as it was told to me, slumped over in his chair. They touched his body, felt he was cold. They knew he was gone. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Hey, hey, good morning.
Hey, brother Dwayne, how you doing? D Wizzle.
Hey, good. Hey, man. Man, it's just crazy, man. Condolence to uh, his son, his family, his siblings. I didn't know that he was the son of Jim Washington for a long time, because Jim Washington was like a big brother to me for years. I did a lot of work for him, and things of that nature. And we had other, uh, relationships through like the Shriners. And I always wanted to get Glenn this picture of his father, because his father passed during COVID. And I wanted to get him this picture uh, when his father and Lincoln Ware and myself, we were all on horseback and, riding downtown in the parade at Fountain Square. And I never got to give that to him, man. And it's just like, man, um, I hate scroll. I'm just scrolling on Facebook now, and just found out another person, sweet as she come. If anybody know Hank Merritt, Lean Stout Jim, Robin Thrasher has passed away. She was as sweet as they come. Just man, I don't even want to scroll no more, man. And you know, his infamous words. If you're getting what I'm spitting, if I'm lying, I'm flying. We always gonna miss that. And I had a chance to, he and I would, behind the scenes, chat and send messages maybe 2 or 3 times, not a lot, but he was always there. And, so we're going to miss, good folks like that. And I'm down here in Atlanta now. And I mean, I was looking forward to, you know, uh, getting with KS down here, because he was having some, meet and greet things coming up soon. And, you know, Kevin Samuel. And, it's just everywhere you look, man, you just have to cherish the moments you have, and relationships you have with people. So we're definitely going to miss Glenn, as everyone else. I'll just echo what they've already said. He was phenomenal. He was passionate. And when it comes to politics and other things as well. I saw it yesterday. I just couldn't believe it. I said, "Wow, that's crazy," because he had just wished my mom a happy birthday, on a page I had posted. And so it's just crazy, man. And so condolences to his family. He has a large family, and his mom is still living. And uh, y- y- like one other caller said, your parents not supposed to be bearing you as a child. You're supposed to be seeing them away, and the best. Like one of the other callers said, if there's something that could be posted about helping out the son, 'cause I know the son now has both parents gone. I always want to help out young men, so and his daughter as well. So, but hey, I appreciate you featuring, celebrating his life today, and I try and keep in touch with you guys. All right, take
All right,
care.
Dwayne, take it easy. That's D Wizzle, everybody. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I guess a lot of people had a favorable opinion of Glenn. I ain't surprised. Not surprised one bit. More of your chat. More of your chat. But first, another call. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey Nathan, how you doing? It's Tom.
Hey, Tony. Good morning.
Man, whew, it's been rough. Yesterday was rough. Started out early in the morning. I was on the way to church. I do video, and I got the word that my daughter was in emergency at Bethesda North, and that was early in the morning. By the end of the day, with all the highs and lows of Mother's Day and everything, I hear about Glenn. So it was just an emotional roller coaster yesterday. But I want to say this: over 20 years ago, when at my job we had AM radios in our cars, in our work cars, vehicles, and it used to drive me crazy listening to 700 WLW. You know, listening to Bob and Tom. They weren't so bad, but hearing Mike McConnell and just that point of view. And then, like, it was almost like the Big Bang. Boom! All of a sudden, you got this radio station that is for us, and it's our issues, and you know, and it was just like, oh my God, man, we got a forum here. And then, just like any Big Bang, you have life, and all of a sudden, it was all these callers that start calling in, and then they became frequent callers, and then these frequent callers start being personalities. You know, and in the midst of all that, you had a caller named Glenn from Mason who brought facts and would hit you with facts, you know. And that's when I first really start like really getting, you know, just really feeling him, you know. And and I knew his father, Mr. Washington. He his limousine service was right by this stop that I delivered to. So I would conversate with him a lot, and he was a brilliant man. So hearing Glenn, it was like, oh, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Brilliant like his dad, you know. But what I really liked about him, what really made me a fan of Glenn, was he took the fight to other people. He went over to their station and would get into it with them and give him his points. And they would have the dump, and it would crack me up because they'd have a dump button, you know, not because he would use any language or violate any, you know, FCC words or anything like that, but because he would catch them up in an argument. Mm-hmm. Like they feared that man, mm-hmm. You know. And we had, and to keep it real, we had a kinder, gentler Republican who did that too.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I forgot that. Too. Yeah, he used to torment Ken.
Yeah, he feared him, you know. So I really respected him for that. And I had about a year or so ago, there was someone else in the chop shop who hit me in the DMs and said some real like tasteless things to me to try to get a rise out of me, and even like said something about one of my children and stuff. And Glenn reached out to me and just really got me to look at being a bigger person and to not feed into it. And I really appreciated that about him, man. You know, so, you know, it hurt, man. You know, it hurts. You know, I'm getting emotional. I know my voice cracking and stuff. But, you know, I just think about what we got here, man, what you helped create and what we helped create, this vehicle. You know, this right here, man, this is something that's like the city ain't never had. And I'll say what everybody else knows. If you in politics, you trying to get an organization to get some publicity or whatever you're trying to do in this city, you got to come here. You got to come to the Chop Shop. You got to come to the Nathan Ivy Show. This is the gateway. This is the new gateway. Not Channel 5, not Channel 9, not Channel 12, none of that. If you're in politics and you don't, and you avoid, you know, Nathan Ivy Show, they ain't gonna vote for you. And it's callers like Glenn that help make that help build this, you know. So, look, man, I ain't saying nothing anybody else don't already know, man. But I you know, and I don't throw the word big brother around that often. You know, I was blessed with one already. So when Glenn came to me like a big brother, I received it. You know, so I'm not gonna mourn too much because I don't believe in that, but I'm gonna celebrate him I'm gonna recognize him as probably one of the greatest talk show callers of all time. So that's all I got for you, Nate. Petty peace.
Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, we don't count. Could Glenn have been a talk show host? Absolutely, absolutely. Matter of fact, I think he did some sitting in, but he had a different life. You know what I'm saying? But definitely had the skills for it. And I listened to the politically petty podcast show, and I told him, I said, dude, I like it. It's good. That's not easy to do. It is not easy to do a podcast, no guest, and you just giving your opinion for 30 minutes, and it's something that people want to listen to. But he had that. And I could break it down more as to what I see. But he had that. That's a rare talent. That's a talent. But as a caller, that's right. When Glenn called in, you knew. I just kind of look at things differently. Like, I ain't never afraid to say I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But you knew that if he was coming at you, your shit had to be right, because he wasn't gonna let it go, and he had a point. You knew he had some kind of point off the top, just because of like the sum total of all of his calls. But let me go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Brother Nate.
Good morning.
Good morning, Big Nate.
Who am I speaking with?
CJ, man.
What up, CJ?
All right, man. Well, first I want to say rest in heaven to our big brother Glenn, one of the coldest spitters in the chop shop. Excuse me, y'all. But when you were some way put together a viewpoint and you called in and then you said your viewpoint and then you listened back and then Glenn called in after you and your shit wasn't right, he made you go back. He was the one that made you go back and fact check yourself. And that is truly going to be missed. Truly. Man. Oh, man. I don't think it's one. Those are rare kinds of people. Rare, very rare. Big Nate, man, I think that he deserved the first ever Chop Shop Golden Mic ever. He the first one to hold it. Because everything he said was fire. He really gonna be missed, man. I'll wake up just to hear it, man, just to hear what he had to say. Man. And I want to thank you for having me on your show, for opening up a format for us. This is the first mildly censored show where you truly can express how you feel. And I want you to keep it going, Nate. Man. He truly gonna be missed, man. Wow. That's all I got for you, Big Nate, man.
That's all I need, brother. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
That's CJ. Y'all getting me, man. I'm trying to keep my shit together here. Y'all getting me, man. I'm trying to keep my shit together here, okay? But All right. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hey, good morning. Welcome.
Hey.
Hey, good morning, Pat.
Hey. I was just lost for words yesterday. First thing I thought of was his kids. Oh my God. But anyway, I had to go on my DMs because for a couple of weeks he hadn't been calling into the show. So on March 24th, I DM'd him. I said, I said, Glenn, you haven't been calling in. Are you okay? And he says, I'm fine. He said, I just been working. And he says, how are you? And I told him, I've been having challenges with my mom. And he says, well, I pray for your mom. I mean, he was just such a nice guy. And, we've talked on the phone before. I always tease him when he puts out all those delicious dishes he's cooking for Mal's, and I say, "What's your address again?" And he say, "You are always welcome to come." But of course, I was just teasing with him. But he was just a generally nice guy, and I would hear him on the buzz, but we didn't get. I don't mean real close, but close until your show. And so I thank you for having this platform to remember him by. And my heart just goes out, like I say, to his mom and his kids. They had lost their mother and now they lost their father. I just can't imagine. Because my mother lives with me now. She's 94 years old. And so I had her, and I'm 67. So I've just had her all my life. And I just can't imagine Miles and his daughter, without both parents. Okay, I'm done because I just appreciate you letting me speak.
Absolutely. Thanks for the call.
All right. Bye bye.
And it makes it so real because um since Iris writes, the golf courses will miss you, Glenn. He loved golfing. Yeah, we talked about getting out there. I'm not a big golfer, but I want to be social and get a little exercise and hang with the fellas. We just never did it. I wish I had, but I don't have a lot of regrets about the people around me. Again, the people around me know exactly how I feel. I let them know. I don't spare it because number one, I think that's the fair thing to do. That's all you can ever really ask of from an adult is for them to be straight with you. That's it. You don't have no control over their actions. You have no control over anything other than just be straight. How you feel is how you feel. So I was just on his Facebook page. I saw the images he had with his son. We used to hear about his son all the time, hear about him and Miles, and that'll be missed as well. Because again, when you have family, when you have love in your life, when you have people that love you, well, then you know what that feels like for other people. You know what I'm saying? And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Part of what makes me good at what I do is because I mean it. I mean it. Every word. Now, sometimes I stir the pot, but I never get too far away from my own personal conscience. But I feel it. You know what I'm saying? I give a damn. I give a damn about our community, like very much so. I care about the people in the chop shop very much so because you support me. And I'd be a damn fool not to support the people that support me. And I'm not a damn fool. So let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate. Good morning. This is Tanika.
Hey, Tanika, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just trying to deal with just the loss of so many people. My brother Glenn, my heart is just broken. I connected with Glenn, and to be, it may sound crazy, but it was just always something about Glenn's voice. And I used to make a comment when we were in the on Spreaker. I used to be like, man, Glenn's voice. It was just something about his voice. It was just so powerful. And I used to work at a company where his dad would come in all the time because he worked with one of the ladies when he had his limo service or whatever. And they did work for the, for the festival in July, on the Jazz Fest. Anyway, and so I connected with Glenn that way, and we would talk sometimes, and he always sent me a Mother's Day for the last couple of years, and this year I didn't get the Mother's Day text. So he's greatly missed. His voice was valuable. It was powerful. It was important. It helped to, get through all the bull crap that some of the people spoke. That was his own opinion. I'm grateful to have known him in the capacity that I did. I'm praying for his family, his mother, his children. I can't even imagine, I lost my dad, but I can't imagine, being at such a young age, losing a parent. But and also I'm praying for us all as a chop shop, because we became family, even though we might not be blood, but it was something about the way we communicated with each other that connected us. And right now, as much as I love being in Florida and the sun, I kind of hate not being in Cincinnati, even though, it's something about, being in the same city as the people that you love. But I just want to send out my prayers and my condolences to everybody. And I know this is a hard day for us. It's going to be hard going forward not to hear his voice. But thank you, Nate, for just giving us this opportunity to just call and just speak on the great man that Glenn was.
Absolutely. Thanks for the call, Tanika.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yep, most def. I'll do my best. Yeah, I should have put these comments up earlier because there's so many comments coming in. I think they're all important, especially, people commenting about Glenn. I'm not prepared to talk about no politics or nothing else today. Nothing really matters. There is a community event or something I think that is important to our community. So I'm going to share that promo with you. The folks of the Black Lives Matter mural, they made a book out of it, and it's going to be an event. I want to make sure we tell you all about that, but I don't really feel like talking about nothing else. I just really want to talk about Glenn and give you an opportunity to share your thoughts about him, and perhaps we'll get back to regular programming tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really in my feelings because, the brother was a big supporter, and I like everything that people were saying. I feel the same way, feel the exact same way. So I just hate to see the loss of the father to his children. Being a father, I can understand like where they're gonna be in the world. Um, but again, Glenn's just made that transition before us. You know what I'm saying? So now we got somebody else on the other side, and you believe in that. That's one way of looking at it. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. Good morning to you. Before I could even call in, I needed to get myself together. And I thank the last caller for saying that, because I was feeling some kind of good. Glenn was a superhero, and Glenn was one of the protectors of Black women out here that sometimes we often need. And so from the Rowley family, and my husband and Glenn played golf. They went to the same high school. From the golfers that loved Glenn, because Glenn loved the golf. He will truly, truly be missed. And I just want to say thank you. He was a defender and an encourager of Iris Rowley in the good fight. And he would always say, even though I was one of those in the early 2000s, if you rolled across our picket line when we were fighting for justice, we came at you. And his dad was one of those individuals. But I loved his dad. And his dad loved us. And we became very good supporters of each other and respecters. But in the game of fighting for justice and equity and opportunity, you got to do what you got to do. And Glenn understood that, and he and I had that conversation. And he was good with Iris Rowley and the work that we were doing, because ultimately it is about loving and respecting one another. And I think Glenn did that very, very well. Nathan, thank you for having him on your show. He will be missed as one of the great all-time call-in people with information. Glenn had information. He just didn't have talk. He had information, he had facts, he had figures, scenarios. He had what we needed. So let's be Glenn today and every other day. In African tradition, as long as you keep calling someone's name, you'll feel that goodness of them. It'll be that goodness that gets you through the day. You know, we often say, what would Jesus do, or what would somebody else do? Let's do what would Glenn do today? Because he was that dear brother. Thank you for letting me get it in, Nathan, and thank you for letting me get some of it in on Friday. I apologize for going over. I know you had an appointment, but I just needed to say that to Glenn today and tell you thank you so very much.
All right, have
Hope
a
to
great
see
day.
everyone
Thank you for the
tonight at City Hall. Thank you. I hope to see everyone tonight at City Hall. If you're interested in what's happening around the collaborative, it kicks off tonight at City Hall at 6 p.m. Thank you, dear brother. You
All
be
right,
well.
thank you.
Let's
Take
have a
it easy.
Glenn day.
I like the way she put that. Let's have Glenn Day. I like that. Adele writes, that Mother's Day event put on by Liz Rogers was amazing. My wife, mom, and mother-in-law had a great time. The food was superb. I told you. I told you. I told you. I could see it. I did not go to the event, but I knew that Liz was involved. I've never been to the venue, but I knew that Liz was involved, and I knew that it was going to be top notch. I knew it was going to be special, so I'm glad you went, and I'll let her know. I'll share that with her. Absolutely. And I don't know what TNT writes, iron sharpened iron. Like right. Like I said, I'm a fan of talk radio. I used to listen. There was nothing else before the explosion of the internet. You get all these podcasts from around the world with YouTube and other venues. All you had was your local radio dial, and Glenn's voice used to stand out because, like I said, it ain't an easy thing to do to call into no talk show. That ain't no easy thing to do. That takes courage, especially if it's somebody where you feel like I'm calling into smoke. A lot of folks ain't gonna call into no smoke. He ain't had no problem with it. He could articulate himself and defend his points, and he used to keep the talk radio hosts on point, keep them on their toes. And that's gonna be missed because that's, as somebody, Brother Powell said, that's rare. That's rare. He could have been a dynamic talk show host, easy peasy. Very easy. And he had something to say. A lot of people like to talk, but do they have something to say? It's two different things. And it gets mixed up in the world because anybody can do podcasting out there. Anybody can do a show, and I encourage you to do so. But only a few people actually have something to say. It's a big difference. And Glenn certainly had something to say. And you knew after hearing him for a little bit of time, when I would say Glenn's on the line, you would just be like, I know this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Tony writes, hashtag free Chris Matthews. Absolutely. So on this platform in the Chop Shop, he will never be missed. Somebody say he should get the first golden mic. I like that idea. And hearing other people, they had the same kind of interactions that I had. He was always on some super positive, encouraging type shit. Now, he didn't spare his opinion. Like, if it was something he didn't like or didn't understand, he would say it. And I like them kind of people. Those are my people. I like smart, aggressive, intelligent people, Black folks, people in general, but Black people who ain't afraid to spare their mind. To share their thoughts and can back it up. I love that. Crystal writes, good morning. Renee writes, I hate to hear this, condolences. Linda writes, R.I.P. Glenn. Jeffrey writes, my deepest sympathy and condolences to the family and friends of Glenn Washington. You would truly be missed, my brother. Absolutely. Grass is like R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. Yes, he passed away as well. Tracy writes, wow, sad. I know Glenn only from your show. R.I.P. Smart, wise, intelligent, insightful. Love you. Thank you, Nate. You are true blessings. Honor choppers. Me and Glenn bump heads on politics a lot of times, but when I finally met him a couple of years ago, I immediately knew who he was because his voice was distinct, and I had already knew his girlfriend for years. It was an immediate connection for me. Yeah. Like I said, he's one of the people that when you meet him, he just him, just genuinely himself. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Greetings, Brother Nathan,
hey,
and all the choppers. This is Sister V. Hey, I want to send condolences not only to his family and children, but to, like somebody else said, all the choppers are feeling it. Whether you agreed with him or not, he made you deal with some issues, and when you got off the call, he made you think. And I apologize if I'm breathing. I stopped walking for a minute. Yesterday I I stayed off Facebook deliberately because it was Mother's Day and I don't have my mother with me physically. And, you know, you kind of have a mixed bag on Facebook where people are giving posthumous shout outs and, you know, to mothers who have transitioned. And I didn't want to see that. I wanted to keep my Mother's Day upbeat as best I could. And then, you know, you get up this morning and you get smacked with this. So, you know, it makes you think about your own mortality. It makes you think about your own family, you know, where you are in life. And every time this happens, yes, we should take a moment to pause and think that out, you know. Somebody had mentioned the fact that his children has lost both their parents in a 4-year period of time. And Glenn was younger than me. So that's, you know, it's kind of disheartening. And that's got to be hard on the children because you're trying to find life after your mom. And now you got to figure out life after your parents. And even as an older adult like myself, that's not easy at all, you know, let alone having to figure it out as a younger adult, you know. So I tell you, me and Glenn have been in a couple of little Facebook scraps. We didn't always agree on everything, but we had a lot of mutual friends. And whenever I was in his company, you talk about a real gentleman. He was a real gentleman, very nice, very cordial all the time. You know, so I just wanted to share my thoughts with folks that, yes, we do need to pray for the family, but at the same time, let's take a moment and pause where we are with our own family members, perhaps what we could do better moving forward. And last thought I would say is because I hear the pain and the sadness. When I tell you I was shook this morning, I was, because I worked all day yesterday to avoid this feeling, you know. And just for it to hit me today, this morning, I thought, okay, you know, got to deal with these feelings that I have. You know, what are you going to do with them? But I would ask if anybody has any insight on the children and the family, and perhaps if there's something that they need. I am sure his family is forming, what he say, Voltron around his children. But if there's anything that we can do, and I mean if there's something we can do, please, Nate, if you are able to keep us abreast of that, would be great. Okay?
I will.
And I hear the pain in your voice, brother, as well. And I know you're going through it too, because I know you lost your mom recently. She transitioned. It's never easy. And so whenever you hear something like this, it's just like a gut punch. So, but, you know, life, unfortunately, is a part of life. Death is too. So hopefully we can keep each other lifted up through this period of time as we, you know, try to figure out these mix of emotions that we're going through. And again, I apologize for the breathing. I'm really trying my best to get my act in order as well, because I'm not a spring chicken anymore either. But, you know, I'm trying to do my best to, you know, combat some things. So again, thanks for taking my call, and condolences to everyone that's feeling what they're feeling this morning. Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Sister V. Yeah, you know me, I ain't afraid to show no emotion at all, especially from a brother that passed away, my people, my family. So I've definitely been in my feelings, tears, the whole 9 yards. It'll probably continue today. I don't know why it's hit me like this. I mean, and I already know. In my head, I already know, but it's your heart. Your heart be breaking for people that you're fond of making that transition. Even though in my head, I already know that's just the circle of life. I get it. 100%. Oh, that's nice words, Crystal. You're definitely welcome. You're definitely welcome. All are welcome. All are welcome to the Nathan Ivey Show. Let me see. Fame's in the house. He writes, we didn't meet, but if you listen to sports at Black Talk Radio in Cincinnati for the last 30 years, he was going to say his piece no matter what. Right. He was going to say his piece no matter what. Good morning, brother Fame. But listen, that's my time. I got to make a move. Many things going on today. Before we roll out of here, though, I want to make sure that you are aware. We got one more call we'll take. That this Thursday from 6:30 p.m., from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., May 12th, I believe they're going to be unveiling. There's a brand new book associated with the Black Lives Matter mural, and they got a lot of support behind this. I wasn't at the function, the first function, but I'm going to try to be there this Thursday. Because again, anything that supports us, I support them. And I know a lot of people in the audience, some people even involved with the making of it, or you knew somebody was. So I'll make sure that you know that there's going to be an event this week on May 12th, which is just 3 days away. It's Thursday, 3-4 days away. All right. Let's go. Last call. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Nathan. This is Pam, Pam Scott. I just want to send my condolences to Glenn and his family. And I just want to thank you for what you've cultivated. Glenn was not only a talk show personality, Glenn was an encourager. When I got ready to move out to Arizona, Glenn messaged me on Facebook and gave me some wonderful words of encouragement as I was changing my career, mid-40s, in the middle of a pandemic, relocating about 2,000 miles across the country. So I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss seeing his posts, just all of his inspirational, just motivational words. He was a motivator. He really was. People had to know him as a person outside of radio, and I got a chance and opportunity to know him because of you, Nathan. So I just want to let you know that you're pretty special, Nathan, and I'm happy that you're continuing to follow your mission and your path as well. So that's all I got, and have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate you, Pam. Yeah, she did. She made that transition. I didn't know the details about her age, but it was a pandemic. She moved out to Arizona, started a whole new career. You know, depending on how your life is ordered in terms of children and whatnot and responsibilities, you can do that. I encourage you to do it. Yeah, from the outside looking in, it may seem like I'm like some impenetrable sort of force. But I'm like everybody else. I have my days where I'm like, I really want to keep doing this. And Glenn definitely, along with a lot of other people, would just send those encouraging words like "stay on your path." And it's like, shit, okay, I got to stay on my path. So you definitely need people like that in your life. So from my standpoint, the brother will definitely be missed. Oh, most definitely, absolutely. But again, family, death is a part of life. That's the bargain. We enjoy everything that life, this universe, this reality has for us. There's something more. Energy doesn't die. It just transforms. Our souls are made up of nothing more than energy. What happens to it? We don't know. Now, some of you may have, you got to figure it out because you have a certain religious view. And I hope for your sake that you're right, if that brings you comfort. I don't know. But Glenn's made that transition along with all the other people that are loved ones, family members, and maybe we'll see them again one day. Maybe. That's a good thought. I want to hold on to that. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. And I'll leave you with our motto. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
Back again like flu season, I broke records while loose leaf, and I'm coming down my roof